Imagine a man so charming, so handsome, so intelligent that women trusted him completely. They smiled at him, they helped him, they got into his car, and they were never seen again. This is not a movie. This is not fiction. This is the true story of Theodore Robert Bundy, a man who confessed to killing 30 women across 7 states, a man who escaped from prison not once, but twice, a man who sat in a courtroom, smiled at the jury, and defended himself, a man who received love letters from strangers while on death row. How does a monster look so normal? How does evil hide behind a charming smile? Today, we go deep into the mind, the crimes, and the terrifying legacy of America's most charming serial killer. This is Ted Bundy, the full story. Theodore Robert Bundy was born on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont. His mother, Eleanor Louise Cowell, was just 22 years old. She was unmarried, and in 1946 America, that was considered deeply shameful. Eleanor's family was strict and religious. Having a baby outside of marriage was not just embarrassing, it was scandalous. So the family made a decision that would shape Ted's entire life. His grandparents, Samuel and Eleanor Cowell, would raise Ted as their own son. His real mother would pretend to be his older sister. From the very first days of his life, Ted Bundy was living inside a lie. He grew up not knowing who his real mother was. He grew up in a house built on secrets. And that house belonged to Samuel Cowell, a man known for his violent temper. Neighbors described Samuel as aggressive and intimidating. He beat the family dog. He swung cats by their tails. He threatened family members who stepped out of line. Ted's aunt once described waking up to find young Ted placing kitchen knives around her sleeping body. He was only 3 years old. Even as a toddler, something about Ted Bundy was different. When Ted was 4 years old, his mother Eleanor finally revealed the truth. She took him away from Vermont to Tacoma, Washington. She married a man named Johnny Bundy, who adopted Ted and gave him his last name. For the first time, Ted had a father figure. But Johnny Bundy was a simple, quiet man, and Ted never connected with him. He felt different. He felt superior. Even as a young boy, Ted Bundy believed he was smarter than everyone around him. At school, Ted was described as a good student. He was well-dressed. He was polite. Teachers liked him. But underneath that polished surface, something was growing. He struggled to understand how other people formed friendships so easily. Social situations confused him. He watched other people and copied their behavior, like an actor learning lines. By high school, Ted had mastered the performance. He knew exactly how to smile, how to make people laugh, how to appear confident. But it was always a mask. As a teenager, Ted developed a disturbing habit. He would walk through his neighborhood late at night, peering through windows, watching people inside their homes without them knowing. He later described this as one of his earliest compulsions. He also began stealing, not because he needed things, but because he enjoyed the thrill of taking what wasn't his. These were early warning signs that nobody recognized at the time. In 1965, Ted Bundy enrolled at the University of Puget Sound, then transferred to the University of Washington in Seattle. He was studying Chinese. He was getting good grades. On the surface, he looked like a bright young man with a promising future. He even fell in love. Her name was Stephanie Brooks. She was beautiful, sophisticated, and came from a wealthy California family. Ted was completely obsessed with her, but Stephanie eventually broke up with him. She felt he lacked ambition. She felt he had no direction. This rejection hit Ted Bundy like a hammer. Psychologists who later studied him believe this rejection triggered something deep and destructive inside him. He dropped out of college. He worked random jobs. He seemed lost. But then something shifted. Ted found politics. He began working for the Republican Party in Washington state. He was charming. He was persuasive. He was excellent with people. His supervisor described him as one of the brightest young men he had ever worked with. Ted also re-enrolled in college, this time studying psychology. He even started law school. From the outside, Ted Bundy looked like a rising star. But inside, the darkness had never left. It was waiting. Seattle, Washington. It is the year everything changes. Young women begin disappearing from the University of Washington campus and surrounding areas. No bodies, no witnesses, no explanation. Just gone. January 4th, 1974. Johnny Lenz, 18 years old, is found by her roommates barely alive in her basement bedroom. She has been brutally attacked with a metal rod from her own bed frame. She survives, but suffers permanent brain damage. 3 weeks later, January 31st, 1974, Linda Ann Healy, 21 years old, vanishes from her basement bedroom near the university. Her sheets are stained with blood. Her nightgown is hanging neatly in the closet. She is never seen alive again. March 12th, Donna Gail Manson, 19 years old, leaves her college dorm to attend a jazz concert. She never arrives. She is never found. April 17th, Susan Roncourt, 18 years old, disappears from Central Washington State College. May 6th, Roberta Parks, 20 years old, vanishes from Oregon State University. June 1st, Brenda Ball disappears after leaving a tavern near Seattle. June 11th, Georgianne Hawkins, 18 years old, vanishes while walking down a well-lit alleyway behind her sorority house. It is a short distance, a familiar path. She is gone in seconds. The city of Seattle is in panic. Parents are calling their daughters every night. Women are walking in groups, locking doors, avoiding strangers. Police are overwhelmed. They have no suspect, no pattern, no leads. But then, witnesses begin coming forward. Multiple women describe the same man: handsome, well-dressed, charming. Sometimes his arm was in a sling. Sometimes he walked with crutches. He would approach women near parking lots or campus areas. He would ask for help, carrying books to his car, or help with the sailboat. His name, he told them, was Ted. One woman who survived an encounter later said she felt completely at ease with him. He was so normal, so friendly. She had no reason to be afraid until she saw the inside of his car. That is when she ran. She was one of the lucky ones. On July 14th, 1974, in a single day, Ted Bundy abducted 2 women from Lake Sammamish State Park in front of hundreds of people. Janice Ott, 23 years old, Denise Naslund, 18 years old. Multiple witnesses saw a young man with his arm in a sling asking women for help with his sailboat. His name, he told them, was Ted. Janice agreed to help him. She walked away with him. She never came back. Hours later, Denise disappeared from the same park. This was Ted Bundy's terrifying genius. He did not hide in shadows. He operated in public, in daylight, surrounded by people. Because he did not look like a monster. He looked like the boy next door. Meanwhile, Ted Bundy was living a completely normal life. He had a new girlfriend named Elizabeth Klopfer. She described him as warm, loving, and thoughtful. He brought her flowers. He cooked her dinner. He was wonderful with her daughter. She had absolutely no idea. By late 1974, Ted Bundy decided to move. He relocated to Salt Lake City, Utah, where he enrolled in the University of Utah Law School. He thought a new city meant a fresh start. But the killing did not stop. It followed him. October 1974, Utah, Colorado, Oregon. More women disappeared. Nancy Wilcox, Melissa Smith, Laura Eam, Debbie Kent, then Karen Campbell in Colorado, Julie Cunningham, Denise Oliverson, Lynette Culver, Susan Curtis, state after state, city after city. The murders continued, but law enforcement agencies were not sharing information with each other. Nobody had connected the dots yet. On August 16, 1975, a Salt Lake City police officer spotted a suspicious Volkswagen Beetle driving through a neighborhood at 2:30 in the morning with its lights off. He pulled it over. The driver was calm, polite. He said his name was Ted Bundy. Inside the car, the officer found a crowbar, handcuffs, a ski mask, rope, and an ice pick. Ted said they were just camping equipment. The officer was not convinced. As investigators dug deeper, they connected Ted to the kidnapping of Carol DeRonch, a young woman who had escaped from his car months earlier. Carol had been approached by a man claiming to be a police officer. He told her someone had tried to break into her car. He asked her to come with him to the station to file a report. She got in his car. He drove to a dark area, pulled out handcuffs, attacked her. She managed to open the door and throw herself out of the moving vehicle. She survived, and when she saw Ted Bundy's photograph, she identified him immediately. On February 23, 1976, Ted Bundy was convicted of the kidnapping of Carol DeRonch. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. But investigators in Colorado were building a much stronger case against him, a murder case. Ted Bundy was transferred to Garfield County Jail in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, to await trial for murder. And that is when Ted Bundy decided he was not going to wait. June 7th, 1977. Ted Bundy is allowed to visit the Pitkin County Courthouse Law Library to prepare for his own defense. He is not wearing handcuffs. He walks calmly to the second floor, opens a window, and jumps. He falls nearly 30 feet, sprains both ankles badly, but he gets up and he runs. For 6 days, Ted Bundy survived in the mountains of Colorado. He broke into cabins looking for food and warm clothes. He hiked through forests on injured ankles. The entire state of Colorado was looking for him. Roadblocks were set up. Helicopters searched from the air. On June 13th, 6 days after the escape, a police officer spotted a suspicious figure walking on the road. Ted Bundy was caught. He was weak, cold, and exhausted. He was brought back to his cell. But Ted Bundy was not finished. Not even close. Back in his cell in Glenwood Springs, Ted began making a new plan. He had noticed something during his months in that jail. A small crawl space above the ceiling of his cell. He requested books and study materials, and then very quietly, very deliberately, he stopped eating. For months, Ted Bundy barely touched his food. He lost 35 pounds. He became thin enough to fit through a tiny opening in the ceiling. On the night of December 30th, 1977, when the jail was quiet and most guards had gone home for the holidays, Ted Bundy pulled himself up through the ceiling. He crawled through the darkness above the jail, through pipes, insulation, and dust. He found an opening above the apartment of the chief jailer, who was away for the holidays. He dropped down into the apartment, changed into the jailer's civilian clothes, and walked out the front door, just like that. The next morning, when guards came to bring Ted his breakfast, they found an empty cell. By then, Ted Bundy had been free for 17 hours. He stole cars, he hitchhiked, he took a bus, he traveled 1,600 miles across the country to Tallahassee, Florida. He rented a room near Florida State University under the fake name Chris Hagen. For a few weeks, he tried to live quietly. He went to bars. He made small talk with strangers, but the compulsion inside him was overwhelming. He could not stop. January 15th, 1978, 3 a.m., Florida State University, Chi Omega Sorority House. While students slept, Ted Bundy slipped through an unlocked back door. What happened next was the most brutal attack of his entire criminal career. In just 15 minutes, he attacked 4 women. Margaret Bowman, 21 years old, killed. Lisa Levy, 20 years old, killed. Karen Chandler, severely injured. Kathy Kleiner, jaw broken in 3 places. A block away, in a separate apartment, he attacked another woman, Cheryl Thomas. She survived, but lost her hearing permanently. Tallahassee woke up to absolute horror. Investigators were stunned by the ferocity of the attack. This was not careful or calculated. This was rage. 3 weeks later, on February 9th, 1978, Ted Bundy abducted 12-year-old Kimberly Leach from her school in Lake City, Florida. She was just a child who had forgotten her purse in a different classroom. She stepped outside for 2 minutes. Ted Bundy was there. Kimberly Leach was his youngest known victim. Her remains were found 2 months later in a state park. On February 15th, 1978, just 1 week after abducting Kimberly Leach, a police officer in Pensacola, Florida, ran the plates on a Volkswagen Beetle, driving slowly through a neighborhood at 1 a.m. The car came back stolen. The officer approached. The driver tried to run. A short struggle followed, and Ted Bundy, the most wanted man in America, was arrested for the last time. He was 31 years old. Ted Bundy's trial for the Chi Omega murders began on June 25th, 1979. It was the first American criminal trial ever broadcast live on television. The whole country watched, and what they saw shocked them. Because Ted Bundy did not look like a killer. He was clean, articulate, confident. He decided to represent himself as his own lawyer. He cross-examined witnesses. He argued legal points. He charmed the courtroom. Women lined up outside the courthouse every morning, hoping to get a seat. He received thousands of love letters in jail. One woman even showed up to the trial with her hair parted in the middle, styled exactly like his victims. The judge, Edward Cowart, even complimented Ted at one point, saying he was a bright young man who could have had a great future. But the evidence was devastating. A forensic expert matched bite marks on victim Lisa Levy's body directly to Ted Bundy's teeth. It was the first time bite mark evidence was used so prominently in an American murder trial. On July 24th, 1979, the jury delivered its verdict: guilty. On both murder counts, Judge Cowart sentenced Ted Bundy to death in the electric chair, and in a strange moment, the judge said something that stunned the courtroom. He told Ted that he genuinely liked him, that he was a remarkable young man, but that he had to be executed. Ted Bundy spent nearly a decade on death row at Florida State Prison. He gave interviews, he wrote letters, he spoke with researchers and FBI profilers. He always deflected, always manipulated, always had a theory or an excuse. FBI agent Bill Hagmaier spent years interviewing Bundy. He later said that Ted never truly felt remorse, that everything, even his confessions, was a performance designed to get something in return. As his execution date approached, Ted Bundy began confessing to murders. He admitted to killings in Washington, Utah, Colorado, Oregon, Idaho, California, and Florida. He confessed to 30 murders, but he confessed in small pieces, using each confession as a bargaining chip, trying to delay his execution. It did not work. On January 24th, 1989, at 7:06 in the morning, Theodore Robert Bundy was strapped into the electric chair at Florida State Prison. Outside the prison walls, a crowd had gathered. Hundreds of people. They carried signs. They cheered. They set off fireworks. At 7:16 a.m., Ted Bundy was pronounced dead. He was 42 years old. The total number of his victims may never be known. Official estimates say at least 30. But some investigators believe the real number could be 100 or more. There are cases across the country that have never been solved. Cases that match his pattern, his method, his timeline. We may never know the full truth. Ted Bundy is gone. But the questions he left behind are still with us today. How did he fool so many people for so long? How did investigators miss the connections between so many cases? And what does it mean when evil wears the face of the boy next door? The answers are uncomfortable, because Ted Bundy did not look like our idea of a monster. He was handsome, he was educated, he was polite, and that is exactly why he was so dangerous. His victims were not naive or careless. They were smart, kind young women who responded to someone who appeared to need help. Their names deserve to be remembered. Joni Lenz, Linda Healy, Donna Manson, Susan Rancourt, Roberta Parks, Brenda Ball, Georgian Hawkins, Janice Ott, Denise Naslund, Nancy Wilcox, Melissa Smith, Laura Amy, Debbie Kent, Karen Campbell, Julie Cunningham, Dennis Oliverson, Lynette Culver, Susan Curtis, Margaret Bowman, Lisa Levy, Kimberly Leach, and many more whose names we may never know. They were daughters, sisters, friends, and students. They had dreams, they had futures, and they were taken too soon by a man who had mastered the art of appearing normal. The story of Ted Bundy is not just a crime story. It is a warning, a reminder that danger does not always announce itself, that evil can smile, evil can be charming, evil can seem perfectly ordinary. And the best thing we can do is remember the victims, learn the signs, and never forget. This was the true and complete story of America's most charming serial killer. Thank you so much for watching. If this documentary moved you, please share it with someone. Leave a comment below telling me which part shocked you the most, and subscribe to this channel, because next week we are covering another dark and chilling true crime story, one that will absolutely keep you up at night. I will see you there.